Can anyone dominate NASA? The same NASA that put the first American in space? The same NASA that made every kid want to be an astronaut so they can go to the moon? NASA, or the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, has been around since October 1, 1958. And since then, they've been highly revolutionary, with their cutting-edge aeronautics research that brought about new knowledge on how we see airplanes. NASA has also completed our solar system's reconnaissance, with an intense investigation of all the planets. Using orbital spacecraft like the Hubble Space Telescope, NASA has also dramatically changed our understanding of the universe around us as well as our own planet. NASA's early work on launch vehicles, communication satellites, and weather satellites has fundamentally changed daily life and created whole new industries. As a catalyst for international cooperation, NASA has also changed how and why humanity conducts space exploration. Now, NASA is preparing to take humankind farther than ever before. It helps foster a robust commercial space economy near Earth and pioneers further human and robotic exploration as we venture into deep space. They've taken heavy strides in space travel and were even the ones who brought about rocket reusability. But today, Elon Musk's SpaceX is dominating NASA in the space race with all of these. The question in all of this is why? What's SpaceX doing that makes them more dominant than the space travel pioneers in the US? Could it be due to the endless memes Elon Musk is fond of sharing on Twitter? It might be, but let's get into more detail. Although they have different focuses, they both have traveling to space as a common theme. NASA's goal is to expand humanity's knowledge and to promote the discovery of space, while SpaceX aims to take humans to and from space. NASA is government-owned and is majorly funded with taxpayers' money, unlike Elon Musk's privately owned SpaceX, primarily financed by investors, which is a good thing, but we'll get into more detail on that later. For NASA, being government-owned is a significant limitation because the president and members of Congress have the most control, which may be costly. How? Their leaders won't have the best knowledge of the business. Plus, they'd likely favor programs that will best serve their interest because of all the politics involved, like getting re-elected. And this will make innovation slow compared to a private organization like SpaceX. For NASA's future, they plan to go back to the moon in 2024, further explore aeronautics technology, the solar system, and human spaceflight. In comparison, SpaceX's primary goal is to make humanity multi-planetary. As Elon Musk famously put it, you want to wake up in the morning and think the future is going to be great. And that's what being a spacefaring civilization is all about. It's about believing in the future and thinking that the future will be better than the past. And I can't think of anything more exciting than going out there and being among the stars. If that isn't inspirational, what is? It's settled that both of these companies are in the space race, but for reasons that'll soon be known, we'll be seeing how SpaceX is actually knocking NASA off the top spot. In terms of innovation, NASA has been lagging in recent decades, contracting projects to private companies like Blue Origin, Rocket Labs, and SpaceX. The first thing to look at is how expensive NASA's projects are compared to SpaceX. NASA promised cheaper space flights with their space shuttle, but like many promises that governments make, it didn't pull through. In fact, it cost them $209 billion, which was about $1.6 billion per launch, and they could only launch about 134 space shuttle flights. This is where the cost difference is pretty apparent. SpaceX's Crew Dragon costs $209 million per launch. At that rate, NASA could have launched 1,000 Crew Dragons. NASA's space shuttle program lacked a clearly defined purpose, and with America already having sent people to the moon, the excitement started to reduce heavily. So because of these high costs, NASA had to stop the space shuttle program. As a company, SpaceX is famous for minimizing costs without compromising safety. They aim to eventually push down the pre-launch cost of their new rocket Starship to as low as $2 million. During a conversation with Lieutenant General John Thompson, commander of the Space and Missile Systems Center, Musk said, "If you consider operational costs, maybe it'll be like $2 million out of SpaceX's pocket each time. This is much less than even a tiny rocket, so it's something that needs to be made." It's common knowledge that you'll find if you focus on one thing, unlike NASA, whose focus is on different things. Another factor in NASA's high cost is that they decided to move on to developing the Space Launch System. For this, they estimated that a single launch of the Space Launch System would cost about $2 billion. And this doesn't even include the company's development cost. Crazy, right? Many people blame NASA for trying to handle many things at the same time. They built a new space shuttle from scratch instead of improving their Apollo design and saving precious dollars there. They also packed in tons of technology into the space shuttle, which cost them heavily in terms of development, maintenance, and repair. Elon Musk, in a bid to throw a jab at his government-owned competitor's high costs, said, "Most government space organizations have spent decades focusing on just performance as opposed to reducing cost. And as government funding of space organizations has been on a downward trend, this has become more of a concern." NASA's aging workforce is another reason why SpaceX is dominating them. Studies have shown that about 56% of NASA's workforce is 50 years old and over, increasing about 7 percentage points over the past 5 years, while the median age of SpaceX's 6,000 employees is 31. NASA isn't the most attractive place for younger people, since there are other exciting and more innovative options like SpaceX and Blue Origin. In America, when you ask kids what they want to be when they grow up, a common answer used to be working for NASA, but not anymore. Now, everyone wants to work alongside the likes of Elon Musk. SpaceX also has one up on NASA when it comes to the devotion their employees have to help the company move forward. They're run like a startup, in that SpaceX's working hours range from about 60 to 80 hours weekly, and sometimes, during critical recoveries and launches, work extends to the 100-hour weekly mark. Most of it happens voluntarily, because the employees see Elon Musk's vision for SpaceX and want to be a part of making it manifest. And unlike SpaceX, NASA employees stick closely to the 40 hours a week schedule because that's what's expected of any government employee. There's no push to work overtime. This dedication to work has positive effects for SpaceX on productivity when compared to their counterparts NASA. SpaceX tends to save money because it can have fewer employees do more work. A former employee of SpaceX some time ago wrote on Quora about what it's like working for them. He said, "SpaceX just hires self-driven people who are extremely passionate about the mission. Long hours are just usually what it takes to get the job done, especially if you're working with limited resources." He joked about how they randomly run into celebrities at the factory. "We'd frequently see celebrities getting tours. For example, I saw Jennifer Aniston having lunch with Elon at the table across from me, ran into Joseph Gordon-Levitt in the bathroom, and had other people like Will Smith and Morgan Freeman come through the factory while I was working," he said. "The more often you'd be at the office, the more likely you'd be around when someone cool was visiting. I frequently did work 12-plus-hour days and pulled many all-nighters at the office. But again, this wasn't because I was forced to, but because I loved my work and saw the value I was bringing to the team." Of course, another factor we can't ignore in this toe-to-toe in the space race is competition. Everyone in business will agree that competition is necessary to keep you breaking boundaries. And because the privately owned SpaceX has competition like Blue Origin and Rocket Labs, it pushes them to keep innovating. Plus, without having yearly funding coming to them like it is with NASA, they have to keep their operation fresh. They have to fight to win contracts as well as keeping investors satisfied. SpaceX is a new age company with lots of innovation and promise. Unlike the somewhat archaic NASA, SpaceX will obviously dominate them in the space race because they have what it takes in terms of vision, competition, innovation, and, well, Elon Musk.